Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BVO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is
The JBT is back at it again, y'all. This time, amazing raffle for the holidays. Replenish the pocket. Sometimes things go grim and, you spend a little bit more than you anticipated, but we're here to help you out. $5 to get you in, $20 to get you in 5 times for winner takes half. Hold on.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing. Back to you with another video. We've been waiting for this for a long time. A lot of people said we couldn't do it, but welcome to the inaugural episode of the Crush and Dre Show. 2 old geezers talking about boxing, having fun. And I'm gonna let my OG Crush and Big Dre have some fun. So enjoy the Crush and Dre Show. It's your boy BVO. Peace.
Hey, what's happening, y'all? Hey, well, listen. Now y'all get it. So me and Big Dre will be terrorizing the goddamn streets when y'all talk that nonsense.
a couple of grumpy old men. Oh man,
Yeah.
What's going on, Crush? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, man. I'm just having fun, man. That's all, man. How you feel?
I'm doing good, man. I got a call 10 minutes ago. Said, "Hey, can you host my show?"
Yeah. No
Just throw me to the wolves. But I'm here. I'm doing it, and we're just gonna keep it going, and do what we can to salvage what would be dead air tonight. So I didn't even see what the topic was.
The topic is the end of Tank Davis era. So
end of the Tank Davis era. Oh,
yeah. So, this is something that he has going on that I'm familiar with. And, I flip the scripts and I keep everything all on the fair. But tonight, this fear may hurt the man who came up with the subject because even though there may be an era that is closing in, it's not the Tank Davis era. That era is not over until Tank Davis closes the curtains on it. But I can see where he's coming from. But do I totally agree? No, because boxing right now, and if you think about it, Big Dre, and everyone that's coming into the building, make sure y'all slash the like button.
Yeah,
but when you look at boxing, right now, and all that we haven't been getting in, people talking about fights happening that's not even taking place right now. You can kind of say, well, damn, it hasn't really been giving me anything that I really wanted, and especially with these certain fighters and be putting the blame all over the place, and it's this person's fault. This person is doing this. He's not doing that. But because there's some space of not activity going on, doesn't necessarily mean that someone era is over. What that means that boxing as a whole needs to do something, because there is a big hole in boxing between the fighters and the businessmen that handle the business. There's not total agreements on everything, and then it's just a whole lot of chuckle and jiving that winds up having us talk about having these conversations. But I would have to say honestly, some of these fighters' careers is over before their career is over. And what I mean by that, it's not going to be a lot of superstars, y'all. Y'all looking for a lot of superstars, a lot of big money makers and stuff like that. That once did exist. But in the sport of boxing right now and with today's era generation, that's not the same case. This is the reason why some of these fighters are still looking for big fights. Their name is big is colossal, but they haven't made big money fights. Like Tio, for instance. You know, when you think of Tio, money should come to it, but he hasn't made no big money. He run around and talk about all his accomplishments. Him being lineal and unified. But I tell people at the end of the day, that don't really matter. You have to be a selling product. Who gives a damn about what you got? You know, those things are just accolades. They just accomplish that you made, but that don't necessarily trumps that you're better than anybody else who haven't done those things. And the way you prove that by getting in the ring, and that has happened in boxing when, so-called fighters, was more accomplished, got in there with guys that wasn't accomplished and they still got their ass beat.
Yeah.
So I got accomplishments, but do that make me better than anybody else that don't have those accomplishments or as many? Nah, it doesn't. But that plays a big part in a lot of these fighters and a lot of the fans are stuck on too many damn titles. You know what I'm saying? The only title that ever mattered is that you was champion. And then, being multi and undisputed, that shit is just extra. That's all it is. But
Oh,
once you
you
go
you
ahead,
you
Big
you
John,
said
you tell me anytime you want.
you preaching to the choir, man, because everybody talking about all of these accolades and extras and undisputed and the lineal titles and um, the super champions. Um, you know, once you make world champion, I mean, I think that's every fighter's dream. Uh, and while I got the mic here, I'm gonna say a good evening and salute to Bruce Gas. Welcome to the show, and Tampa Tommy, Real Prison Talk with Tommy. Welcome to the show. But when you talk about the Tank Davis era, it a lot of people have a problem um, with Tank because he was following the Mayweather plan. You know, all of those accolades and those belts don't put money in your bank account. So let's put some money in the bank, and we'll worry about those belts and accolades later. Um, so the let's it's so he didn't fight some of the big names or some of the bigger names, um, and you know, but he's trying to make up for that here in the later stages of his career and do what he needs to do. Picasso, welcome to the show, man. You know, um, and Thomas Hill, what's going on, fam? Um, it's trying to make up for that, but everybody got something to do now that it's time for Tank to fight. You know, Lowe don't feel like it. Shakur decided, he going in a different direction. I don't know what that's about, but um, Zapata, oh well, we just had a really long camp, so uh, we're not gonna fight no more this year. And turns out he fought again there. You got um, Pitbull. Well, Pitbull took the L, so it shifted the focus to oh, I mean, now you end up with okay, well, we keep going down. As man said, Lamont said, "Hey, man, I'll step up to the plate." So we got the Lamont Roach fight, and everybody crapping on it. The man is a champion, and it's not like Tank's a big 135 pounder. The man might weigh 150 pounds max. Um, fight night. It's kind of hard to be heavy when you come into camp at 140 pounds for a 135-pound fight. You got to make 135, the day before. He's not going to be a big guy, so it is what it is, man. And I like to see the champions fight the champions. I like to see the Tank get some of these fights. I like to see him take care of Lamont Roach. And that's my boy, and I think that's gonna be a good fight. I like to see it go the distance, because again, Lamont's my boy, but I still want Tank to get that W, and I think that's gonna happen. And then he's supposed to be in negotiations with Keyshawn, and then maybe we get Keyshawn around Juneteenth, and then we get Shakur in November or December, and that'll give him 3 fights in 1 year, to make up for the 1 fight we had in 24. So I mean, it is what it is, and I don't see the era coming to a close. He might decide to stick it out another year and give us 3 more fights. Go out there and get that Lomachenko fight, get the T.O. fight. And if Devin ain't at 154 pounds, maybe get the Devin fight. But Devin
I don't
looking
think that one is
huge.
going to happen.
I don't think the Devin fight's gonna happen either. But because Devin the boy looking big, and he got not Brian Norman. He got my man
Jaleel
Jaleel.
Hackett on his
Oh,
feet.
Jaleel
Yeah.
Hackett is on his helmet, man. Trying to make it so. Trying to make it so. And so it's. I want to salute everybody in the chat. We got Picasso in here. Real Prison Talk with Tommy.
Salute.
I thought I saw Thomas Hill's name here a minute ago.
Kill Tommy Hill. Salute the entire chat. But you know what? Now back to the end of a Tank era. It has some truth to it, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I'm gonna tell you what era has ended with Tank. The era of Tank that actually ended is the era of Tank don't want to fight nobody. Yes, that era has ended. Saying Tank is scared, he don't want to face the best. That era is over. If you want to talk about the Tank era is over, I think that's the era that I think he was, aiming to. But if not, I'll take him there, like the Staple Singers. But yeah, because so many years, because Floyd was moving him the way he wanted to move him. Of course, you would think that, but now since he's been on his own, and I think he has done a lot better with opponents since the Floyd era, but the smoke has been clearing on the fact that this little red man is afraid of everybody, and I try to understand, why does a little guy get so much pressure put on him? This is what I'm trying to understand. I've been trying to understand this for the longest. And I've been around long enough to still have some common sense left in my cobweb ass brain, as I'm getting older. But I'm like, why is the pressure on a small guy who's always the smallest guy whenever he gets in the damn ring? And before you add on to it, Big Dre, I thought about it 1,000 times over, and I did come up with something. And the something is that if all the pressure is on a little guy to keep on facing people bigger than him because he's always going to be at a size disadvantage, then that just comes to show me how bad this little man is. I don't never hear nothing about big guys taking so many challenges. You don't hear it just on these certain fighters. But it just amazes my brain. But it comes to show, and he had shown me that he's definitely the guy to beat. But that's the thing. You need to fight this guy. You need to fight this guy. But what do those people need to do? What happened to they need to fight each other? I don't hear nobody saying that. They just leaning it one way. And I'm like, okay, don't it take two to do this?
Well, it
Two
does take
always
two. It
go
does
ahead, Dre,
take
you got
two
it.
to. It does take two to tango and make these fights. And um, and the reason the pressure's on Tank is because Tank is doing um what nobody else is doing. Tank is getting in there. He's taking the fights, and he is okay. They said, well, he ain't fought nobody, and then Ryan come out there running his mouth. Okay, we take on Ryan. Bam, get Ryan out of there. Big money fight. So that accomplished two things. I put him in there with a knockout artist with Ryan, and knocked out Ryan. They said, well, he ain't fought a slick black fighter. Okay, well, there go Frank Martin. We gonna give Frank Martin that little extra that Shakur wouldn't give him, and bring him on in. And he
Right.
knocked out Frank Martin. Um, so he tried to get the Loma fight, and the Loma fight didn't materialize. And so then we go down the long list of things and all the problems associated with the Roach fight. I mean,
Right.
this is a fight that's supposed to happen in October. It went from October to November because they said it was going to be Loma in October, and then uh, it went from Loma in October to all these other names to Roach in November, and then from Roach in November to Roach in December. Then it was Roach in January. Now it's March the 1st. Um, you know, the getting these fights and getting them out there and turning them over so that we can see them and then they can get ready for their next fight. Um, I think fighters should fight at least 3 times a year, especially the big name fighters. Let's move these things along, um, and fight once every 4 months. Uh, but that's what I that's what I think. I serve 88. Salute, fam. What's going on? Um, you know, the everybody make sure you smash the like button. The keeping the fighters out there and making the fights. Part of it is the promoters. I look at the thing that's going on with Boots right now. Um, you know, Boots' name is mud in it around the internet. Especially in these YouTube streets because you know somebody showed up at his house on Thanksgiving, or they gave him a call on Thanksgiving Day and said, "Hey, I need you to make a decision. You going to 54 or you staying at 47?" Wait a minute, it's Thanksgiving, man. I got a turkey on the table. Why are you calling me? you know, oh, you got 24 hours. Listen, I'm gonna eat some of this turkey. I'm gonna go into a food coma, and I'll call you on Monday. But it's it is what it is. 88 Sports Talk. Salute, man. Have fun. Welcome to the show. Um, you know, the they said he ducked he ducked Virgil. Well, how can you duck Virgil when the man called you on Thanksgiving? You know, you about halfway to a food coma, um, and he wants you to make a decision that's going to change your entire career. Because the first thing Eddie said was, when Boots fought Avanesian, the first thing out of Eddie's mouth was, maybe it's time for him to drop the belt and move up to 54. Wait a minute. The man said, I want to unify. How we get from unify to drop the belt? I can't unify if I drop the belt. And if I go up to 54, I got to get in the back of the line. I don't have a um, uh, I don't have a direct fight because I fight in the IBF, and the IBF says, no, just because you champion at the weight class below, doesn't mean that you get a shot at the champion in the next weight class. So, that's where we at. 88 Sport Talk, salute. Welcome to the show.
Good up, 88. My man. Go ahead, Big Dre. What else you got, brother?
Oh, no, I was just saying BBA telling somebody to answer the phone. And, I can't answer the phone. I'm on the phone. Man called me 10 minutes ago. Listen, man, we out here doing this thing. We running with it. I personally think that Boots got one fight with Eddie unless he fights Barrios, Norman Jr., or Stanionis. I mean, if he's not fighting a champion at 47, this 3-fight deal with Eddie was a waste of time because all it did was get him a voluntary defense of his 47 title, a mandatory defense of his 47 title, and now they're talking Teofimo. Teofimo ain't a champion. Teofimo ain't at 47.
Tio ain't talking about. Tio ain't talking about nobody that's in 140 pounds. But far as Jerron Ennis goes, this is just my honest opinion. Nobody at 47 really wants to fight him. And my thing is this: why stay at a division where people don't want no smoke with you?
Well,
that's the whole thing. And it's like sort of kind of trying to force his will on these guys to make him fight them just because he wants to become undisputed at 147 pounds. Well, let me just say this. You don't necessarily have to be 147 pounds. Why can't it be the next weight class? We already had somebody go undisputed at 147 pounds, like most of these upper weight classes. But the more challenging fights for this talented young man is at 154 pounds. And even though he didn't look too he didn't look too satisfactory, in people's eyes in his fights against Karen, still feel as though that those guys, Stanionis and whoever the other belt holder at 47 can't beat the man. And nor has they been saying anything about fighting him. They all tied up. They got other things going on. And they not even mentioning his damn name. So at this
Barrios
point,
ain't got nothing going on. Barrios just got out the ring, just like Boots just got out the ring.
Yeah, but Barrios don't want to fight him, George. Like I said, none of these guys wants to fight him.
They just said that the
Barrios
money wasn't enough, and if the offer was anything like the first offer that they sent, Brian Norman, the chump change, I can understand why, but I think Eddie should have made a sincere effort. Like he made an effort with Brian Norman Jr. Because I guess they were willing to negotiate, finding out later that um, it wouldn't have happened, but um, but it's I think I blame Eddie, and it's Eddie's fault. Eddie fumbled this. Defined irony. What's up, George? Man, hey man, good work in Puerto Rico, man. I like what you did, and way to step up, man, and do your thing. Um, Welcome to Define Irony in the building. Michael Gardner. You're right. I don't think they want to fight it, Michael. With Bud and Spence fight, they held up the division. Then Bud didn't want to drop the belts. So um, it's hard to unify. But now that the belts is out there, there's three champions. The fights are available. I think it was Eddie's responsibility um, to try and make those fights and do what he can to make those fights happen immediately following the Avanesian fight. Because okay, I understand. You get in there, you get that voluntary defense up there, and you try to make that fight. You try to make that next fight. Um, um, so it's one of those things that you got to do. Tommy says Karen was nailing Boots with repeated straight right hands. Virgil mess around and beat Boots. That's why Boots ducked him, crying about weight but won't move up. Make it make sense. Well, Tommy, I'm going to say this that Jerron said in the beginning before he fought Avanesian, that he wanted to unify the belts. Once he got that, he said he wanted to unify. He wanted to become undisputed. So I think that was his goal. And once you announce a goal, you at least need to try to make it. So he got that first fight with Avanesian, and then the IBF said you're gonna fight your mandatory, and I'm gonna give you so many days to make a decision. And once you make that decision, we're gonna set that up. So once they set up a purse bid, because Eddie didn't want that, and he ended up having to bite the bullet and pay for it anyway.
Right.
So it's gonna be hard for him no matter how you look at it. Mike Garner says, don't think Boots will get the Barrios fight next. Believe the PBC will try and wait for Boots to leave Matchroom. Well, if they don't negotiate with him, I mean, because right now, Barrios, all of the rumors are that Eddie's trying to put Conor Benn in that fight with Barrios, and if he puts Conor Benn in that fight with Barrios, bye Jerron. It's okay. I'll fight anybody so I can get out from under this 3-fight deal. Tommy, I know that he said after the Karen fight that it might be time to move up, but he still his original goal was to unify, and I'm not going to call it a mixed message, but I am going to say that he should have made it a little bit clearer that he still wanted to unify, because he's told Eddie this. And he said it in several different interviews afterwards. So I mean, while yeah, it might be time to move up. It's you got to give Eddie a chance to make at least one of the fights. Hardcore boxing. Jay Hardcore in the building. What's going on, Jay? Salute to you,
J
my brother.
Hardcore, what's going on? Salute to you, man. Salute to you. Hey, it's a whole mess, man. It's a whole mess, Dre. We got a little mess going on right now,
It
man.
is a whole
It's
mess, man. Um, I like to. I want to see the fights. I want to see, fighters. When a fighter states his goal, I want to see them, um, to try to follow that. And BBO, I'm not on nobody's payroll, man. Come on, man. You know me better than that.
and you say you're on somebody's payroll.
Yeah, that's
I ain't even
BBO.
looking at the chat right
That's why I call him a troll. You know, and I call it to him to
now.
his face. King Troll. But at any rate, um, um, you know, like I
Boots
said,
don't look like he's doing too busy.
I blame Eddie for messing this up, and he knew it was going to cost money because Boots put it out there that that's what he wanted. Um, and once you put it out there, we'll figure, the guys figure, well, um, Boots want to unify. Um, I um, I I think I'm gonna raise my price and see if I can get some money out of this because Boots is gonna be a hard fight, and a hard fight deserves, um, you know, um, hard fight deserve a big paycheck. So I want to get that big payday, man. Let's make it roll. Um, and Brian Norman said, "Hey, I wanna go home with $1 million check. I want to pay all my people, all my fees, and go home with $1 million check."
Well,
So
he
and
got
I don't
he
blame him.
he got to get there. He got to get there. He's quite ain't there yet. To walk off with $1 million to himself. He got to work himself there. It just don't fall on your lap like that. Everyone is not being blessed with that in the sport of boxing, and that's what some of these boxers need to understand. Yeah, everybody wants the big money, but all these guys ain't gonna make big money. Most of these guys is only gonna make okay money, no matter how big their name is. They're only gonna make okay money because it depends on the public, and then if the public ain't making you that way, you ain't gonna be that way. So sorry, guys. Y'all not the most liked, and that's it is what it is. Do what you can do. Everybody ain't meant to be a damn star, and that's the problem. Everybody's trying to be a star. That's not how it goes in the sport of boxing. This is a one man game. Can't have a whole bunch of damn stars in the same damn division. You know, um, it's a lovely thing. You have good fighters in the same division, but a bunch of all stars, no, you're only going to get a handful in each division. And sadly, a lot of fighters will not be a part of that. And that's just the way that it is. So, my suggestion is to them is to be the best you can be. Get out there, go for what you want to get, accomplish it. Win, lose, or draw, at the end of the day, you get to take care of your family. But everybody in boxing is not going to be a star. Everybody in boxing is not meant to be a damn cash cow. Y'all keep on dreaming. That's why some of these fighters ain't that yet. And they did a whole lot of something and ain't that yet. Just like I told y'all 1,000 years ago, there's been a whole lot of broke ass champions. You
Oh
got
yeah,
champions that never even been rich. So hey,
well,
man,
take
if
Tio
we
for instance. Tio says, out of all of his fights, he's never taken home $1 million,
yeah, well,
all at once. And he's been a unified champion. He's been, a two-time lineal champion. Um, and he's been in some really good fights, but he just haven't been paid the way that some other fighters have. You know, and when you talk about Boots, and the Brian Norman thing. Well, how much did Boots make before he got the belt? You know, how much was his biggest payday? And I'm
Not
not that
much.
I'm pocket watching because I don't care because they're not gonna give me a dime. Uh, you know,
Right.
I'm gonna be Big Dre on YouTube for free, um, and I won't see a dime of that money. So it really doesn't make any difference to me. Um, um, and when you got a bunch of chiefs and no Indians, you don't get anything done. So you got to have some people out here to make you know um, to make those fights, to make those smaller fights. And, I'm really fortunate that I live in an area where we've got live local fights on 5, 6, 7 times a year. So I get to go to different fights every couple of months and watch some of the local fighters, man. And that's where I get my biggest thing. Because hell, I can't go to um, I can't go to the Tank fight. Shit, I can't afford that ticket. you know, um, going to going to some of the big fights that costs a few dollars, man. And brother, um, and I just don't have it. Um,
Right. Right. I feel you, man. It is what it is, but you support the way you can support, and
oh
that's
man,
all that
yeah,
matters.
I buy the pay-per-views,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I go to the sports bar where they pay for the pay-per-view, and I support that way. Um, and
Hell yeah.
or it's we'll get a handful of us together. We'll buy the fight and we'll pay for it. And it's one pay per view and it's, it's 10 or 15 of us in there. You know, we got to make it. We got to make it. Do what we do. So it's and we support boxing the best way we can.
Mm, right. Right. Of course. But with that being said, man, the fights is going to be made, but the most important thing is the fights that's already signed, sealed, and about to be delivered very soon, which is the only fights that I'm really interested in and worrying about. I'm not worrying about what I want to see because I might not see it. We may not see it. And that's been happening. So that really don't matter to me until it's actually in real time. But we got some interesting fights coming up. We got fights this weekend. I don't know how interested everybody's into the fights this weekend. It's fights on tonight. Actually, I'm watching the Antonio Vargas and Winston Guerrero prelims now. I'm watching those. But other than that, I'm waiting for Usyk and Fury too, and then we go into 2025. I'm excited for David and David. David and David is one of the first matches that will be coming up in 2025. So I got my eyes sight on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what I'm going about. I'm looking forward to being a good fight, but I'm picking the Mexican monster killer to come out victorious in this fight. Um, and everybody can say both of these guys didn't really look good in their last fights. Some people feel as though Morrell lost, his last fight, which was his first fight at 75, I think. But he didn't look too impressive. Hopefully, um, he's ready to rock steady when it comes to fighting David Benavidez, who's coming to fight. We already know David Benavidez is coming to fight. No matter if you're a fan of him or not, uh, man is kind of special. Long arms. He got this. He switches that speed in mid stride throwing punches, which I think is one of his nicest weapons because it's kind of hard to adjust to that. Something look like it's coming out slow, but it's hitting faster than what it look like it's going to arrive to you. So that that's something to work to talk about. David Benavidez. Um, what else can I say about it? I don't got nobody beating him right now besides the other guys better be ever one of those guys. But I think he's going to beat Morrell. I think Morrell is going to put up a good fight. I think I think Morrell has a better chance if it stays a boxing match. But if it turns into a fight, which like most likely
That's
is going to be more of a fight than a boxing match, then I'm definitely going with David Benavidez. What you got?
well, Benavidez ain't gonna let it ain't gonna let it stay a boxing match, because he gonna turn it into a fight because he likes to brawl, um,
Very quick.
you know, and Tommy, no, I'm not from Philly. I'm a DC native, man. I'm Washington DC, native Washingtonian. Hanging out here with my boy um, Lamont Roach and with the Russell brothers. So DC on DC. I'm DC's own, man. But
Okay.
Tommy also said, "Hell yeah, Crush David versus David will be lit. He got the Cuban winning with better footwork and utilizing his reach, and Morrell can crack." I hate to disagree with you, Tommy. I got Benavidez winning that one. I think while Morrell has good footwork, um, he wants to keep it a boxing match, and I think Benavidez wants to turn it into a fight. Um, and as a fight, I think David Benavidez is going to do it. BBO, I ain't from Delaware.
He trying to say you're square from Delaware, bro. That's
Oh
what he
man,
trying to say. Cause that's a saying, you're square if you from Delaware. That's a saying. We used to say back here in Philly. Apparently a lot of places know about it outside this tri-state region, and that's why you said that, man. You're square if you from Delaware, because who lives in Delaware? That's how it is. You know, that's why you saying that, man. But okay, he got good footwork. He can pop, but his pop didn't carry in his first fight at 175. So I would have to slightly disagree. We didn't see the punching power
called
that
and
he
I
had
got
at
to answer.
68, at 75. Go ahead, Dre.
Oh no, I said I had a call. My wife, when my wife calls, I have to answer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Me, I have the luxury of don't have to answer to no damn body. you know, but they try to make me answer to them, but hey, I don't belong to you. Talk to who belong to you. They be out of pocket, man. Hey, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Every single female friend I have in my stable, they got a man. They out of pocket. They out of pocket.
They out of pocket.
They out of
Oh,
pocket.
Crush said he young man, single and free.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I don't sugarcoat nothing. I don't do none of that. I don't do no pretending. I ain't gonna have nobody thinking, oh, you the only one I'm talking to, or if you the only one I'm screwing. I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna let you know. I don't want you thinking you the one if I ain't tell you that. Nah. So when I don't call you for a couple of days, most likely I'm with one of my other friends. You know, I don't do none of that crazy stuff, man. I don't. We adults here. You know what I mean? But getting back to boxing, man, enough of that.
Yeah. Like Tommy said David Morrell got to keep Benavidez moving and turning. Don't let him plant his feet and move on angles, move out behind.
That is
I
true.
agree. That's going to be the way he can keep it as a boxing match. But um, if Benavidez finds a way to um, cut off the ring on him and box him into a corner, it could be a long night for David Morrell because Benavidez want to turn it into a fight. He wants to turn it into a brawl. He don't want to box from outside. He don't want to go for the angles. He wants to Um, stay in range and bang hard, and that's just the way he do it. No one thought Rigo with only 12 fights could beat Donaire, and he schooled him. Don't sleep on Morrell. Oh, not sleeping on Morrell. Um, definitely not sleeping on Morrell. Morrell is a boxer. I look at David Morrell the way I look at Devin Haney. He's more of a boxer than he is a fighter. Not saying that he can't crack, um, but he likes to box. He likes to keep it a distance. He wants to keep that. He wants to keep that fight from on the outside. He wants to stay behind the jab, and he wants to move. So. Mike Gardner says, don't know if box record is correct, but David Morrell has a 4-inch reach advantage on David Benavidez. Yeah, he gonna need it if he's gonna keep that bike, keep that man off of him.
But they're around the same height, right? They're around the same height. Or is David Benavidez a little taller?
I think Benavidez might be a little bit taller, but Morrell has longer arms. And Killer Mike,
Oh, well,
I ain't
that
hating on BVO, man. I don't hate on
Killer Mike
BVO,
is
but BVO's a troll, man.
shit.
Killer Mike also says it's big, hard, nasty work. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be big, hard, nasty work. Because they throwing some power in there, and them boys is big. They it's gonna be a hard fight to win. And if Morrell's going to win it, he's going to win it from the outside. He's going to win it from the outside. He's going to be moving. He's going to be sticking. He's going to be moving. He's going to try to keep Benavidez off kilter, fighting on the angles, and turning while not being able to plant his feet. Because it's going to be it's going to be a long night, no matter which way it goes. See, Michael Gardner says Benavidez is 6'2" and Morrell is 6'1". Okay, so that does put Benavidez a touch taller and Morrell with the longer arms. I thought that's what I just said. Boxing scholar, David gonna get smoked. Yeah, well, when you got two Davids in there, one of them getting smoked.
Yeah, one of them definitely getting smoked.
And then Picasso says, my analysis, David spars Bivol. And if I put anybody up against Beterbiev, it'll be David Benavidez. Nothing against Morrell. Just don't know if about him or seeing him gritting. Okay, I can see where you're coming from. And David Benavidez is he's a good. He's got a lot of power, and he uses it. He's probably the stronger fighter, and I think going against Beterbiev, yeah, I would have to go David Benavidez because I don't think Morrell is going to stop is going to take the power from Beterbiev. Whereas I think that David Benavidez can absorb some of that. Killer Mike said you support BVO. He wanted the realest in the YouTube boxing community. Stop the crap track. I'm not capping, man. BBO he's a good dude. He's got a good heart, and he knows his boxing. But every once in a while, BBO likes to troll, um, and he takes that opposite position, knowing that he's going to ruffle some feathers. And sometimes that's what you got to do to keep the show rolling. So, in order to keep the show rolling, he does what he has to do. And you're right. One of those days, he's going to lose that O. Uh, you know.
A boxing scholar said that's why I'm the GOAT and a David will win.
You're right, boxing scholar. A David will win. You know. Yeah, who you picking? I'm picking David, man. I got $50 on David. All I
I
know is
got 50
somebody named David gonna win that fight. I love that you are my brother, and I love you. That's how you know BBO about to lie. When BBO says that, when he says you my brother and I love you, he about to tell a lie. He about to troll.
Boxing scholar said, Boots gotta stop ducking. When I say boxing scholar, he got to stop tucking and jiving. Oh, Philadelphia, oh, Philadelphia. Well, I'm the one that's going against the grain. He is not looking good for the young man. And it has to be a reason behind it. And I'm
Uh,
just gonna,
I'm gonna tell you the
just
reason behind it. I'm gonna tell you exactly the reason behind it. Eddie's the reason behind it. Eddie's the one that got Boots in this bad situation. Um,
no, Big Dre.
oh man,
Boot
Eh,
is the
eh,
one that got himself in this situation because he shouldn't have signed to Eddie.
okay, I agree with you, but Boots said looking for a fight, looking for a fight, looking for a fight, and Eddie says I can get you a fight. And he came over there and signed with Eddie, and Eddie, bam, threw him right in the ring with Avanesia. Um, Selling out in Philadelphia, man, that's a good feeling to sell out in your hometown. Really bring in 18,000 people, and and Wells Fargo Center. Um,
Hey,
you know,
you know why it sold out the second time? Come on now, come on
Eddie
now,
started
people.
dropping the belt
I got it. I got to lay
and
it
moved up to
down.
54.
The reason why it sold out the second time, it's not because nobody wanted to see Boots fight Karen again. Because Bam Rodriguez was the co-main event, man. Had someone on there that was an attraction besides himself. That's why it sold the way that it did the second time, and it sold more than the first time. He had to add something on it to it the second time because if he would have had the same type of uh card that he did the first fight, it wouldn't have sold. It probably would have sold less. See, I'm gonna be honest. I don't give a damn if I'm from Philly or not, man. I'm an honest dude. I ain't got no time for the boy ish with nobody on no topic or anything. We gonna keep it straight, no chaser. You know what I mean? Straight, no chaser. I'm like old dirty bastard. Ooh, baby, I like it raw. So I'm going to keep it raw and true. You
now,
shouldn't have
Tommy,
signed with Eddie. That was a bad
you're
move.
right. Eddie says that Boots make the decisions, but Boots has never said I'm ready to drop the belt, and that's I haven't heard Boots say that. I haven't heard Boots say I'm ready to drop the belt, but I've heard Eddie say that Boots need to drop the belt and move up to 54, and he said that on several occasions. I can't I can't fault um, Boots for what Eddie said. Eddie's been pushing to drop the belt, move to 54. You know, and Killer Mike, I believe you're right. The Bam sold that night. Bam was what made that night, because definitely had the best fight that night. And at the end of the day, Picasso, you're right. Boots is responsible for Boots. No excuses. And that's just the way that's just the way it's supposed to be. When you when you're supposed to be in charge of your own career, and your promoter's supposed to work for you, you you have to be 100% responsible. Now, he may have done some things that did not jive with what Eddie wanted, but Eddie's made a whole lot of comments that I don't think jive with what Boots wanted. And so who is this? Mike Gardner. You can fault Eddie. You can fault Boots. Eddie has Conor Ben. He never offered Boots that fight. That's a good fight. But he should have offered Boots that fight. He should have. Boots should have been a priority, because Conor Ben is just coming off of suspension, and he gets a title shot. Come on, man. He shouldn't be. He should be nowhere near the Barrios conversation. And the real money is at 54. The real names are at 54. The legacy fights at 54. But Boots wants to chase meaningless belts at 47 because Bud is at 54. I don't think it's not meaningless, because how many people can say that I was an undisputed champion? How many people can say I was a unified champion? And no, Tommy, Conor Ben is not at 54. They're trying to make the Barrios fight. And Conor Ben is no longer suspended in the UK. That's why they're trying to hurry up and get him another fight. So, Jay Gibson, salute, man. Welcome to the show. Glad to see you in the building. Just say Eddie's a snake. If that snake needs help, you help him. He bites you. Well, it's a snake, don't you? Yeah, well, we knew Eddie was a snake. We knew that, if you put your hand down in him, he gonna bite you. And Boots just got too close. And Eddie says, you need to drop the belt and go to 54. And every interview that Eddie's in, and with very few exceptions, when they bring up Boots' name, he mentions Boots going to 54, dropping the belt and going to 54. Now, the man tells you he wants to unify. Now, I can't unify at 47 if I drop my belt at 47. I can't unify at 54 because the line is too long at 54. And Mike, maybe he did just went to go with Eddie for the money. He knew that Eddie could get him 3 quick fights, and he would fight 3 times. He got a 3-fight deal. He could fight 3 times in less than 2 years and be out of that contract. He's got his name up there. He's got his belt hanging around his neck. And it is what it is. He can do what he needs to do. Give me just a second, fellas. I need to answer the door.
Sorry to bother you.
Yes, sir.
Your neighbor called about this vehicle. Do you happen to know who the...
No, mine is right there.
Oh, this is your vehicle?
Yeah.
Okay. No idea who owns that.
I have no idea who owns that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Sorry about that, fellas. I'm in an Airbnb, and somebody's parked in the neighbor's driveway. I'm glad it's not me.
I know that's right, man.
Hey, man.
I used to give Bill a lot more kudos. I said, well, Bill came from the street because we do know a lot of the same dudes in the street.
Um,
Because that's how he got in touch with me. When it didn't work for him to go to Leonard, he called dudes that we knew and had them get us together on a three-way
he
call.
got a bit going on.
That's how bad he wanted to get Jaleel off his ass. I thought Bill was a little more than that, but I'm realizing he can't teach Devin to be anything but a sucker when he ain't nothing but a sucker. You ain't never seen a pimp fight a man. You seen a pimp fight a woman. And that's all Bill is old fake ass pimp. He talking about this the second Bernard that's delusional. The first Bernard caught his ass in the motherfucking ring at the ringside, and this nigga refused to go to the bathroom with B-Hop. Oh, we could do this right here. Oh, sucker ass nigga. That's when I should have realized a sucker can't teach a nigga to be nothing but a sucker. That's why I call Devin Pussy Haney.
What is BVO doing?
I don't know what these people doing, man.
We wasn't even talking um about Jaleel. Well, we talked about Jaleel, 40 minutes ago. But Picasso say, ask Kell Brooks if he got bit going up to Triple G and getting his orbital bone cracked. Ooh, that's probably a good one. Yeah, that would probably be considered getting bit. Shakur said that's why he went with Eddie. What kind of drink with plants in it? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them out there with plants in it. Did I dry snitch on the neighbors? No, I didn't dry snitch on the neighbors. They asking about a car in their driveway, and it ain't mine. So if the police get it towed, it's not mine. I don't have to worry about it. But since he played the clip, that's a fight I'd like to see. I think Jaleel would get right on Devin, and the plant's behind me. Oh, that's a big ass plant, man. It ain't no drink. It's in a super tall jar, about 18 inches tall. But
Tommy, crazy. Tommy said he went ham on Bill, but Carter's kept on think he accept that call from B Hop either.
hell, I'm
uh,
I'm 6'2" and well over 300 pounds, and I wouldn't accept that call from B Hop. And I can probably handle myself in the bathroom, but that's a that's a professional fighter. He no matter how old he is, he got quick hands. So
I ask you this, Big Dre. Salute
yes,
to my
sir.
man, Big Dre. Salute to my God, Juicy J, my partner in crime, Crush the Legend, man. Like I said, everybody been waiting to hear the Big Dre and Crush the Legend show, so y'all got a taste of it. And I'm gonna just say this: even though my man Dre do a lot of capping, he knows his boxing, and he's my brother, and I love him. So my only thing is this: when you say some of the things that you say, I mean, it's just very disingenuous. I mean, you know that, like I know, that Boots Ennis, the expectation is, I don't care if you're at home eating turkey or not, pick up the phone and get to work. When me and you got to go pay our mortgage, or me and you got to go pay the light bill, they don't want to hear you got a turkey on the table. They want to hear, are you going to come to work or not? And I think too many times as fans, we let these fighters off the hook, and that's why we get in this cesspool of boxing. This has been the worst era of boxing in the last 30 years, Dre. This era of boxing has been horrible on all fronts. You could say you might have got maybe 30 fights in 30 years that really made any real difference. We got the Manny Pacquiao Floyd fight too late. We got the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight too late. I mean, we never got Anthony Joshua versus Deontay the Bronze Bomber. I mean, so it's just been a repeated thing of us not getting fights. And what happens is this. Shout out to Wallow for saying this. Because we got people who say, you know what, they working through something. Don't be hard on them. They working through something.
Listen,
I mean, we seen guys battle alcoholism, we seen guys battle womanizing, whatever the case may be, but they got that behinds in the ring and made it happen. So to sit here and say, oh, I'm giving him a break, that's why you got the cesspool, you got a boxing now, because guess what? A guy like Tank, who we all love to watch fight, Aaron Pryor would break his neck. Roberto Duran would break his neck. They wouldn't let him sit there at 135 and say, oh, I don't like how I feel at 140. Floyd hated how he felt at 154. But that is something from fighting Miguel Cotto. That is something from fighting Oscar De La Hoya or Canelo Alvarez. So my whole thing is this, man. When we gonna
wait a
stop
minute, but
making excuses?
didn't we have a few fighters who spent their entire career at 135? You
This
know,
is my question. He hasn't always spent his entire career at 135. What he's done is this. He's asked for top dollar for less than top work. That doesn't in what industry do you reward somebody for giving you average and say I want full scale? That's what Tank has done. And that's okay. Canelo has done that to an extent. But at least Canelo did go fight Austin Trout and then fought Floyd. At least Canelo did go fight Dmitry Bivol, even though nobody asked for that fight. He did go up there and fight Sergey Kovalev. I mean, you could just go. It's a huge list of what Canelo did for the sport, how he made the sport grow, how he's at the point now where he can fight who he wants. And guess what? When he beat Dave Benavidez, y'all gonna say he did. He waited. It's always gonna be a question to the guy who actually does it. And that's the thing that sucks about boxing because I'm a Deontay Wilder fan. So I've seen people keep putting world blocks. You got to do this. Oh, no, you got to do this. Oh, now you got to go to the moon, go get me some Cambodian breast milk. No, then you got to go get me some mumble sauce from D.C. They move the mark on guys they like. And all anybody who's saying about a guy like Tank is, hey, if you're the man, that's fine. Please fight somebody that we know that can probably beat you or that's stronger and bigger than you. Do you know my favorite fight from Floyd is when he fought Miguel Cotto? Miguel Cotto probably had 30, 40 pounds on Floyd. But did it matter? Nope. Floyd whooped on him. So that's my whole thing, Big Dre, and that's kind of why I get a little disgusted when I hear you talk about boxing because I remember as a small child watching, Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson. I remember watching those fights and getting so excited about the next fight. James lights out Tony, going up there fighting John Ruiz, then popping Dirty. I remember my dad cried when he popped Dirty the next day. So
listen,
go ahead.
I watched a lot of boxing in my day, and some of my best fights were, back in the era of David Tua, you know, um, watching Riddick Bowe get in the ring, you know, watching Mike Tyson, watching Evander Holyfield, watching the greats from yesteryear when you talk about Muhammad Ali and George Foreman and Larry Holmes and so I've watched a lot of boxing. I can't remember it all, but I'm not going. I'm going to use Boots as an example. Boots said that he set out a goal. He set a goal. Okay, when the man sets a goal, I think I would like to give him the opportunity to achieve that goal if it's possible. Okay, and I'm not going down the man for making a decision that doesn't align with that goal. Because see, if going up to 50, if he said that when he fought Avanesian, or if he had already unified at least one of the belts, and then said he wants to go up to 54, and he didn't go to 54, then I'm going to criticize it. Okay. Shout out to my homeboy D for the win. You know, I'm glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you stop by. Welcome to the show. Okay. When you look at when you look at the Tank fights, now Tank was moved strategically under the Mayweather program to make as much money as physically possible in the shortest amount of time. And he's done that. He's become a pay-per-view star, and he's been knocking out, and he's knocked out everybody but Pitbull since. Okay.
Let me ask you this, Big Boy, before you finish. Let me ask you this before you finish. Have you ever heard of a guy named Funk Master Flex?
Yeah, I know Funk Master Flex.
You know what he
I've
said about? You know what he said about Tupac? I can put this on tape. He lied. He told us that he was the best, and he's about to reach. And you know what? You know what it gets me. And it's the part that gets me. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm sorry. I had to say this. I hate that smug attitude that he has, as if we should worship him because he's a fighter. Man, shut up, man. We pay your mortgage, boy. I don't like this smug attitude these new athletes have, as if they don't owe the fans anything.
Man.
It's not just him. I just hate that these athletes think that they don't owe the fans anything. What did all the greats say? What did Muhammad say? I'm nothing without my fans. You know, same thing with Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield had a heart condition, got prayed for, Benny Hinn fell out, came back, won a world title. But he always said thank you to the fans. I'm telling you, this new bashing of fans, you know, we seen Devin Haney punching somebody at the Piggly Wiggly Fair. I mean, this stuff is out of pocket, man. We gotta
You
be
got
like
Shakur
fans.
saying F the fans. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you know, or my favorite. You remember when Shakur hit that lady in the back of her head like that? Come on, man. We got to be honest, man. These guys are moving horribly, man. They're not marketable. We get a marketable star, and what does he do? He comes out with racist epithets out his mouth, one at the other. So it's like it's tough, Dre. So forgive me, but go back to what you were saying. My bad. Go ahead.
Okay, so like I said, Tank was moved under the Mayweather program, and to make as much money as you possibly, as fast as possible, and continue making money until you can't. Okay, so Tank became the true definition of a prize fighter, because that's the only time he wanted to strap him up was when he was getting paid. But he also had that dog in him. He also had that that gotta knock him out type of thing. So he is an exciting fighter. He's a fighter that gives you your money's worth. You know, he's not that Mike Tyson. You know, where you pay $65 for the pay-per-view, and Mike Tyson walking out the ring, you say, "Oh, let me grab a beer." By the time you get back with the beer, the fight's over, because you've missed the whole thing. You watch the highlights, and you know the highlights are 13 seconds long because that's how long the fight was. You know, so he gives you your money's worth. You know, and it's a shame that he can't get in the ring with everybody we want him to get in the ring with. Okay, but because you can't make a fight with somebody while you have a fight pending, you can start negotiations. But I can't set up a date to say win, lose, or draw. I'm gonna fight this person next on this date at this venue, because until this fight is over with, we can't finalize. Shout out to Clarence McLean in the No Duck Zone podcast. Welcome to the building, Clarence.
C-Man. What's up, C-Man?
Glad you joined the show. So it's harder to make a fight when you have a fight. And then, you know, 60% of Devin's career is based on calling out Tank when either he or Tank already had a fight scheduled. So you can't make that fight because either I have a fight scheduled or you have a fight scheduled. So it's much harder to make that fight. And then as soon as there was an opportunity where Devin didn't have a fight, and Tank didn't have a fight. Um, you know, right after the Lomachenko fight, Tank get out of jail, and Devin announces, "I got a fight at 140." He left the whole weight class. You know, that made it that much harder. And he had a fight scheduled with Regis. So not only did he move up, he already had a fight scheduled. He left the weight class and had a fight scheduled all in the same weekend. Tank got out of jail. It was just, I think he was just waiting for the announcement. You know, so I can't blame him. Tio left the weight class, went to 140. You know, when you look at the landscape of boxing, it's harder to schedule these fights because you have to wait until this fight is over with before I can schedule the next one. And Tommy said Boots is not even the best fighter out of Philly. That distinction belongs to Andy Cruz. I don't think Andy Cruz has proven enough to be considered the best fighter out of Philly yet, Tommy.
He's not really from Philly. He's not originally from Philly, Andy Cruz.
Is D Free in the building? I didn't see D Free name come across my screen. What's up, D Free? Another one of my homies, another knowledgeable person from the district. And like Tommy's saying here, you know, he can't force people into the ring. So
and you can't blame him for people not wanting to get in the ring with him. That's my point.
Yeah, because not everybody's willing to go take a sleep study. You know. So I mean, hey, you know, you're gonna come on in here and we're gonna fight. And now the question is, can your chin take this left hook, or this left uppercut, or this overhand right, or that right hook?
Yeah, but Big Dre, guess what, man? You know, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, let's just be honest here. I don't think he'll be remembered the same way we remember Henry Armstrong, Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, you know, Salvador Sanchez, Charlie
Thomas
Gant.
Hearns, Marvin Hagler.
We just don't remember him in that
right.
same light. And
we won't remember him in the same light because he don't have he didn't fight and get the accolades. He didn't fight the memorable fights. He will have some memorable fights because he will look out there and you'll see that that Leo Santa Cruz knockout will come up every once in a while. Okay, that guy that looked like a cockatoo with the funny hairdo, his knockout will come up every once in a while. They will talk about the Mario Barrios knockout. The Frank Martin knockout will, you know, show up every once in a while. So he might not be.
You know, that was the only fight I've seen him in that I thought he would lose. The only fight I ever seen Tank in, I thought it was as a real, I would say, man, that's a big fight, was when he fought Mario Barrios, because other than Mario Barrios avoiding Josh Taylor as a WBA regular champion, he was really nice at 140. And Tank stopped him. Keith Thurman couldn't stop him. He ain't been stopped since, but he that was the one fight I can say where I seen Tank, hey, this dude's special. I wish all the fights could be like that, where he got a disadvantage, because when you're scared, you ever put a rat in the corner? I just love how scared he was. I love the footwork, the movement. It was crazy, Dre. I just gotta say, Tank is so special. I just want to see him in them tough fights again. At least give me another tough Mario Barrios fight, and I'll leave you alone, man. Because I'll be honest with you,
I'll take another Leo Santa Cruz fight, because Leo was hitting him with everything but the kitchen sink, and you know, Tank was standing there taking it, and he finally found the rhythm and the timing, and that uppercut hit home. And you know, I think what makes it special for me is when you hear Al Bernstein saying if Tank thought Leo was going to fold from his power, just as he got hit with that uppercut, it just went from he's going to fold from his power. Oh my! Yes, that is the call. That is, ooh man, that just hit different.
Only reason I
You
couldn't
know,
say cool. Only reason I couldn't say Cool Boy is the most accomplished from Philly is because Joe Frazier was undisputed champion. Um, and Joe Frazier, I mean, we forget about old Smoking Joe. He was a
well,
monster. I mean,
Smoking Joe
he
he
had a
was
short
all Philly.
career. He had a pretty short career, and I'll be honest, Eddie Futch was why he did so well. It wasn't because of him. It was because of Eddie Futch. But still, I would say Smoking Joe Frazier is the greatest, is the most accomplished fighter from Philly. Or either him or Bernard. I would say him or Bernard because I believe Bernard was undisputed at one time as well. So
Yeah, Bernard.
yeah, so it would be between those two, in my humble opinion. And let's be honest, Philly makes some great fighters, some tough guys, man. Came out of Philly, man. They really have. Um, Now there's nowhere to watch a fight in Philly that you could say is legendary, but it definitely is a legendary fight town in my opinion.
Well, you're right about this. You know, there's no legendary place to. But how many legendary boxing arenas do we have in the U.S.? You know, how many places can you call legendary other than Madison Square Garden in the big room? Okay,
Um,
the
you're probably
Forum
right.
in
You're probably
L.A.
right. You're probably right. I mean,
You
you
know,
could say Crypto
they had
Arena.
some good fights in the Forum, but you know they still didn't compare to the fights that you had in Madison Square Garden. And no place else has lasted as long. No place
You
else
know,
is still
boxing built. You know,
standing.
boxing built Madison Square Garden.
You know, um,
Hey, let me say this real quick. Shout out to the Puerto Rican Prince, D Free, Mr. Beans and Rice in the house. What's up, Free? I don't know what's going on with Puerto Rican Free, but
He on mute.
yeah.
what up, Free man?
Shout out to my brother Free, man, Mr. Beans and Rice. Hey, you know what? I gotta tell you guys a cool story real quick. When I first met D
Ain't nothing
Free,
wrong with some black beans and rice, man.
What's going on, Fatback and Hog Mall?
hey, we in the house, Grant. We in the house. But hey, you know the funny thing about D Free, man, people don't know this. This is my guy. When I met Free, I thought he was a black guy. Turns out he a doggone Puerto Rican. So shout out to Free, man. Shout out to Free.
Nah,
And see,
I hear y'all talking. I mean, um, what Big Dre said is absolutely correct. It's only two places that you say is notorious for boxing. That's Las Vegas and New York City. Those are the only two places that's notorious for boxing. I mean, of course, you think of New York City, you think about the Knicks and the Yankees and stuff like that. But the other thing that you think about is boxing when it comes to the sport of boxing. When people talk about boxing, you say, "What's the most famous arena for boxing?" It's either going to be one of the casinos in Las Vegas, or it's going to be Madison Square Garden. Those are the two notorious spots for boxing.
well, when you say notorious spots for boxing, when you go to Vegas, you got to realize that the older places in Vegas that where the venues used to be have been torn down now. So, you know, you've got
Yeah,
um, you know the Luxor and um, the Bellagio and all of these new casinos now where they're holding boxing matches in these grand arenas. But when you talk about classic boxing, um, Madison Square Garden uh, stands above everybody.
yeah.
And Tommy mentioned Atlantic City. Atlantic City held some great boxing matches, but all of the places that were in Atlantic City that were originally hosting these boxing matches, um, you know, 25, 30 years ago are no longer there.
Yeah, they no longer exist anymore.
And
Um,
shout out to my angry white brother, um, D1 in the building. Welcome to the show, D1.
yeah, but yeah. They no longer exist. And I hear what y'all was saying about Jerron Booth. And see, my whole thing is I'm kind of on the same path with what Big Dre said. The man said he want to be undisputed at 47. I'm not going to knock him for wanting to stay at 47 and be undisputed. As long as that's what you're doing and you're not fighting nobody else. You're just fighting the champions. If this fight happens between him and Tio, then he got to go in the category of duck because you said your next fight was going to be a champion and you only stand at 47 because you want to be undisputed. So Tio doesn't move you one closer to undisputed. To
Oh,
is a money grab. It doesn't move you closer to being undisputed. And if you wanted that money grab, you could have fought Virgil Ortiz.
shout out to the underrated darkness. Welcome to the show, man. I'm glad to see you in the building tonight. And you're absolutely right, D Free, because the if he just wanted the money, he could have just went on up there, did a one off, because he already fought his mandatory. He wouldn't have to drop his belt to go up and fight Virgil. Um, so he could have done a one off, but he knew that once he went to 54, he was going to stay there.
Yeah, I mean, and that very well could be the case. He could know. Okay, once I pack on this weight, I'm not going to want to cut myself back down anymore. It's going to be too hard to cut myself back down because when he go to 54, once he weighed in, he don't have to worry about that 10-pound rehydration clause because the IBF belt is not on the line. So he can rehydrate to whatever weight he rehydrates to. So it very well could be, hey, if I go up to 54, most likely I'm not going to be able to come back down, or I'm going to have to kill myself to come back down, and I'm not going to be the best version of myself. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not knocking him for wanting to stay at 47 and become undisputed or at least unify, because that's what he said. He said, I want to be undisputed, but I want to at least unify. And
Right.
if he does that, I can't say that this man ducked because he did what he said he was going to do. He didn't take another voluntary fight outside of a champion if he goes and fight Stanionis or Mario Barrio or Brian Norman. If those one of those guys is his next fight, I can't knock him. I can't say, okay, he ducked, because I heard everything my man Knockout said. Shout out to Knockout. I heard everything he said, and he made some good points. But at the same token, we didn't knock these other guys for saying they want to stay at a weight class to become undisputed. So I'm not going to knock him neither.
Well, Knockout makes some really good points, and the money aspect of it was a very good point. But knowing that he to go up to 54, to take a fight at 54, he's going to pack on 20 pounds, okay, from his walking around weight. Because he's probably walking around at 160, 165 right now. Gets down to the 47, makes the 47 weight class, and then he rehydrates up to 57 in the morning and up to about 60, 62 by fight time. And, so it's keeping things within a tighter window right now. And if you pack on, an additional 20 pounds, so when you're fighting at 54, and you rehydrate to, back up to 70, 72, that's a big difference from 47. That's a long way to go back.
Yeah.
And
see,
it's also
guys.
a 3-fight deal, because he's
Yeah.
got to fight 3 times to become undisputed. So
Yeah.
he's got that IBF thing over his head. But once he unifies, that will take some of the sting off of it, because he doesn't have to fight under the IBF rules for the unifications, but he
Yeah,
still have to make that 147.
yeah. And see, and I'm one of these ones. I like to have everything lined up so when I put a tag on somebody, I don't have to recant that tag because if we say Jerron Booth Ennis is a duck, and this man says he's staying at 47 to fight, to become undisputed or at least unified, and his very next fight is one of these champions, then you're gonna be like, well, I can't say he ducked. Well, you done already said he ducked.
Yeah,
You
you already
already went
said he
on
ducked.
record for saying he ducked. So you can't recant what you said. It's already out there. So I'm one of these ones. I like for everything to be lined up. So when I say it, I don't have to go back and apologize and be like, oh, I was wrong. He didn't do this. He was trying to do this and he did it. So that's how I've always been. I don't put the duck tag on nobody if it's not wanted. Like and like I said, if this TO fight does come to fruition, he very well will get the duck tag put on him because
Well, if he
you
fights
could have fought
Tio,
Virgil.
we might well give him the coat, man. It says duck all over the back of it because that's what he'll be.
Yeah.
And Tommy, you say that Dev went undisputed at 135, but it was a corny run. Dev had one fight at 135 to go undisputed. He just had to fight one fight. He had to beat the weakest champion at 135 to become undisputed. And then he went back to Australia. And he signed up for a bad deal. Yes, it was a bad deal. But he went to Australia. He won that first fight. He went back to Australia. He won that second fight on a deal that was just as bad as the first one. But if Boots goes undisputed at 47, it's not a one-fight deal. He has to fight three other champions.
And
That's
and,
three other
and
champions, not just one.
People bring up that dog deal that Devin Haney had to take. Let's be 100% honest. The only reason why he took that deal is because he knew without a shadow of doubt he wasn't losing to Cambosis. He knew without a shadow of doubt he wasn't losing. I guarantee you, if that was Lomachenko, or that was Tio, or that was Tank Davis, or that was Shakur, Devin wasn't taking that deal. He wasn't taking that deal. He was like, nah, man, I'm not taking that deal. These dudes is hard. I'm not going to have no easy fight with these guys. So let's be totally honest. Because remember, quote unquote, that was the same deal that they offered Loma. And Loma was supposed to take that deal.
But Loma decided that going home to fight in the Ukraine was more important than becoming undisputed. So, I can't fault Loma for going back to the Ukraine to fight.
And Loma didn't go no daggone Ukraine to fight no daggone war. Loma went on a daggone hiatus for a year. The plan was let Devin Haney go over there, beat Cambosis, let him take the crappy deal. We got a better deal for you against Devin Haney after he wins. That was what the plan was. They knew what the plan was. That's why Loma was the third fight. They knew what the plan was.
You said they put it in writing. Okay, I got you. And I ain't mad at the thought because it's I had that thought. It came across my mind. Because it's mighty funny that when Cambosis beat Tio after Tio beat Loma, that all of a sudden, Loma's got to go back to the Ukraine. And he stayed there for 16 months so that Devin can get that fight and the rematch out and come back just in time to fight Devin.
Right. And remember, he fought Jermaine Ortiz right before he fought Devin. So they gave him a tune-up before he got in the ring with Devin. They already knew what the plan was. They knew what the plan was. That wasn't a secret. I mean, the only people that didn't see it was people that wasn't paying attention. If you paid attention, you knew what the plan was. We're
Well, I
going to
guess
give. We're
I
going to.
wasn't paying. I wasn't paying attention in the moment. Um, the thought crossed my mind afterwards, but in the moment, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
Um,
because you got to think about it. That was the deal that Loma that Cambosos were giving out to anybody, and that's why Tank Day was like, "What? No, man, I don't. You can keep those belts. I'll fight you for free. I'm not going to Australia to fight you. I'm not going to Australia to fight." Because we got to remember, Devin was the last choice. He went to Tank first. He went to Tank
right.
first,
And
and then
Tank said,
he
Tank
went
said,
to
I don't
Loma.
need to go to Australia just to get some belts on a bullshit deal.
Right. Then he went to Loma, and then Devin was the last choice because they all rejected the offer. Well, Loma ain't rejected. Bob just said, "No, we got a better deal for you. Let Devin have it. We're gonna have Devin sign over here for a 3-fight deal. He gonna take that offer, and when he finished with his rematch, he's gonna fight you in the last fight."
G
That was,
Peasy in the building. Welcome, G Peasy. Welcome to the show, man. Good to see you in the building tonight, man. But yeah,
because
he
if
went
Tank
over
would
there.
have if Tank would have took that fight with Kambosos, Devin would have never been undisputed.
I agree with you 100%. Because if Tank had went over there, well, first of all, when they offered Tank the deal, they offered Tank the same, shithouse deal that they offered Devin, because the belts were supposedly, the prize, and Devin knew that he could out jab Kambosos for 24 rounds, in his sleep. So um, it was sort of a no brainer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take the crappy end of the stick. I'll go over here. I'll become undisputed, and that will I'll be the youngest undisputed champion, in the 4-belt era. Um, I'll have accolades. That means my name goes in the history book, and no matter what happens, my name will be in the history books.
Right.
So
Yeah. And if
it
Loma
had
would have took it, he would have never got that undisputed fight. Because remember, they created the franchise belt for Loma. Not that undisputed fight. So Loma would
yes,
have been quote unquote the undisputed champion because that franchise belt. And they would have ran with it as Loma is the undisputed champion. Even though we all saw that T.O. and Kambosos was never undisputed, but they would have ran with undisputed for Loma because Loma was the golden goose. Loma was the promised child. So they would have ran with that undisputed if Loma would have took that deal with Kambosos and went over there, and we know now he would have knocked Kambosos out. He would have been considered the undisputed champion at 135. And
I wish he
Bob
would have
Byrne
took
probably
that
would have
deal.
never signed Devin. He probably would have never signed Devin.
Yeah, you're probably right. But Devin said he was willing to go to Australia. So because he was willing to go to Australia and take the crappy end of the deal, um, it made it easy. Okay, Loma, we'll put you on the back burner, let you go ahead. You can sit out. You can take this hiatus. Um, we'll use the war effort at home to be your excuse, and he'll go over there. He will take this fight. He will have to go back for the rematch because it was a two-way rematch clause, and
Nah, it was a one-way rematch clause. It was only a rematch for Kambosos. It wasn't a rematch for Devin. It was a
Devin didn't
one-way.
have.
No, it was a
I,
one-way rematch clause. Only a
I
rematch
thought
for
Bill.
Kambosos.
I thought Bill said it was a two-way rematch clause.
Nah,
That it was a rematch either way.
it was only for Kambosos. It wasn't for Devin. Because
Oh,
remember, Devin wasn't considered the true champion according to the WBC. He wasn't considered the true champion. So it was no rematch clause for Devin. It was only a rematch clause for Cambosis.
Well, Devin, that's because Devin got emailed the belt.
Yeah, but the WBC at that time they were saying Devin wasn't the real champion. The franchise champion is the real champion. That's what the WBC was saying at that time. So they didn't consider Devin. They considered Devin similar to Tank Davis. He was just a regular WBC champion. He wasn't the super, but they didn't call it the super. They called it the franchise.
But okay, now this is something we got into earlier with. I got into earlier with Boxing Hacker. The world champion is the world champion.
Yeah.
These super and franchise and designated are designated belts for the purpose of unification. And I don't know why people always say it's the Reggie belt. It's the secondary belt. No, it is the world champion, and the world champion has mandatory to maintain that. Marky Dan,
the only belt.
Welcome to the show, man.
The only belt that doesn't have mandatories is the WBA Super. That's the only belt, because the WBO Super, they have mandatories. The IBF don't have a super belt.
The IBF has a franchise belt, doesn't it?
No. They have an interim belt, and that interim belt only happened, roughly like 4 times in the history of the IBF. It only happened like 4 times. So they don't have a super belt. Like I said, the WBO, their super champion, they fight once every 18 months. They fight a mandatory once every 18 months.
Okay.
But the WBA is the only super that doesn't have no mandatories. It's the only one that doesn't have mandatories. Now, and they was trying to create the franchise, the WBC franchise, like the WBA Super, where it didn't have any mandatory fights. That's what they was trying to do. But the problem with that was they only did it in two divisions. They did it at 160. Yeah, they did it at 160 and they did it at 135. They didn't do it for no other weight classes. If they would have did it across the board, it wouldn't be such a big deal because it was done across the board. But they only did it for 2 weight classes. But like you said, the world champion is the actual champion, because the super belt is created when they are trying to unify so the mandatories don't get in the way. Because when the super goes away, the only belt that's left there is the WBA World Championship. That's the only belt that's left there. Is the WBA
and that's the belt.
World.
That's the belt the Tank has. The WBA World Champion.
Right, because remember when Lomachenko got it, Linares was the WBA champion. There wasn't a WBA Super at 135 for 8 years. Once they made that fight with Jorge Linares and Lomachenko, they put the WBA Super on for the fight. They put the WBA Super up for the fight. But Linares was never the WBA Super. He was the WBA quote unquote regular champion.
Yeah, see, that's where they confuse people like Boxing Hacker. Had to give.
I mean, if you just do a little bit of research, you can find everything you're looking for. Because like I said,
I told him just
the WBA Super, the WBA Super wasn't at 135 for 8 years. It wasn't there for 8 years. It just came back when Loma fought Jorge Linares.
Right, and when they tried to offer it to Gervonta, he says, "I don't need a super belt. I have a belt. I don't need that designation." So the WBA announced that Gervonta Davis is their only champion. He is the world champion, and the super belt is now in recess. So it is gone
The super
away
belt
again.
is non-existent until they decide to give it to somebody that's willing to take it. Because Tank said he didn't
can I
want
ask you a question, man? Can you please put the water down for Tank? Please put the water down, man. Oh my
What are you
God.
talking about?
Put the
Who you
water
We're not
down,
even
talking
Big
to?
talking
J.
about Tank. We're not even talking about Tank. We're talking about Loma. We were talking about the WBA belt.
They robbed Tio. They robbed Tio and Cambosa being undisputed, man. I don't know why people don't admit it. It is what it is. It was one of the biggest travesties in boxing, man. But I say this though.
Where
I'll
you
say
get the
this,
Tank
man.
from though?
Shout out,
Where you get Tank from?
shout out to the Angry White Man Show. We get him for the Angry White Man Show. D1, the angriest mofo in the YTBC. William Old School, the Bayou Catfish, another angry brother. Y'all don't want to miss this, man. And like I said, next week we're gonna be back with the Crush and Big Dre show. And everybody, we're gonna come hop in, me, Puerto Rican Free, Cuban Tommy. We're gonna come in here, man. We're gonna come and have some fun. And guess what? As my man Crown Jew always say, man, get ready for some big fights. I think we got a fight this weekend. I think the great Jaime Mugia comes back. I'm not sure if he's with Top Rank now or what, but we all know
Yeah,
who
he with
Jaime
Top
is.
Rank. They fighting on ESPN Plus tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll be covering that fight. We know we're gonna cover all the Mexican champions. So that means you'll have me, Puerto Rican Free, um, of course, Prize, aka Curly Top, and we're gonna bring Crush to the party. And I got a special guest tomorrow. Hopefully, my man Reggie Sweet Johnson will come through and call a fight with us. He said he don't got nothing planned, so shout out to Uncle Reggie. Say he gonna come through. And shout out to Big Dre, man, one of my favorite brothers. And he's my brother, and I love him. He get on here and talk bad about my brother in Christ, boxing hacker. But shout out to boxing hacker for always telling the truth, man. Shout out to D Free. You got anything before we go, D Free?
Nah, man. I mean, people just gotta do some research. Just do some research. Reading is fundamental. The key word in there is fun. So if you do a little bit of reading, you can find everything you're looking for.
Only D Free
Uh,
can say something like that and be mean about it.
and,
Read is
and, and, and
fundamental, huh?
Bentley, uh, Tank fought for his belt. He was never elevated. So he fought for his belt. He was not elevated. Um, but I had a good time tonight. I want to say thank you to BBO for giving me 10 minutes to get ready for the show. Not knowing what I'm gonna come in here and talk about, and just flying off the cuff. I want to say salute to my man Crush the Legend, who was a great crush to lean on tonight. And you know, it was a good time to be had by all. Um, Real Prison Talk with Tommy, D Free, BVO. I salute y'all. Y'all, it was a good time. Y'all tune into the Angry White Men. They coming on at 10 o'clock, which means they should be on in about 10 minutes. Go over there and check out my guys, D1 and William Old School. And you know they're going to be angry. So if you got some thin skin or don't like to hear cursing, um, that's not the show for you, because they're going to curse up a storm and they're going to be angry about it. They
They're
start
not
off the
like
show
BBO. They
pissed
don't
off.
have no cussing like a BBO. And shout out to Cuban Tommy. I don't think Cuban Tommy said nothing. I know he used to go by Tampa Tommy, but we call him Cuban Tommy here. So you got anything, Cuban Tommy? I don't think you said anything.
Yeah, I just came on to say one thing, man. Aside from my man D Free, who picked Morrell, when Morrell pulled his upset, ain't gonna be no room on the bandwagon, man. Stay y'all
Oh
ass
no,
on the
for
other
sure,
side of the street.
for sure, for sure.
Hey,
Listen, I'm not a
hey.
bandwagon jumper, man. So if David Morrell manages to win this fight, I'm going to give him his props and give him his flowers, and I'm going to stand on the side and praise him from afar. Is that
Hey,
okay with you,
and
Tommy?
of course the Puerto Rican and the Cuban is going
We
for
can live with
Morrell.
that.
Big shot. Big shot. If y'all didn't know, of course, because Benavidez messed with the brothers, of course the Cuban and the Puerto Rican say, you know what, we going for Morrell. So y'all go ahead and go with Michael Myers. He's going to get beat to death. That's all I got to say. And I got $5 free that Baby Benavidez wins.
You sure you got $5, BBO?
I got $5, man, because you owe me 5. And
I
what
guess
I'm gonna
long as I
do,
owe you, you'll never be broke, right?
hey, you know, because whenever you ask Big Dre for your money, he try to give you a bottle of Cisco, man. I want my money, Dre, not the
Listen,
Cisco.
I ain't never had a bottle of Cisco in my life.
On that note,
I've
man,
man, listen,
the
I've had
best
some nightshades and
podcast.
some Boone's Farm, but I ain't never had some Cisco.
Hey, and you know the funny thing about it? Hey, we coming for the #1 spot. Hey, and I'm gonna keep saying names. 78 Sports, we coming. Just Do, we coming. Hey, Boxing Ego, we coming. All those guys that said that they ahead of us, we coming for y'all, man. Stop running from us, man. It's your boy BBO Boxing. It's your boy Crush, Puerto Rican Free, Cuban Tommy, Hayden Dre, and we out of here, y'all. Peace.
We out,
Yo,
baby.
peace out.
Ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, I give you BBO.
Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.